It started with a single tire track, carved deep into my front lawn like a scar. I stood there, coffee mug in hand, staring at the muddy gash across the grass I'd spent months tending. My heart sank. This wasn't a random delivery van or a kid's bike. It was deliberate. Someone had driven over my lawn on purpose, and it wasn't just once. Every morning for a week, I woke to fresh tracks, always in the same spot near my mailbox. The grass, once green and even, now looked like a battlefield. I felt violated, like someone had walked into my home and spit on the floor. This was my corner of the world, my quiet suburban street in Maplewood, and someone was tearing it apart. I had to know who. I set up a cheap security camera, the kind you get for $20 online. It was small, tucked behind a rose bush, but it did the job. That night, I barely slept, thinking about the footage I'd see. The next morning, I pulled up the video on my phone. My stomach twisted as I watched a red Jeep Cherokee roll over my lawn at 6:45 a.m., tires chewing up the sod with precision. The driver's face was clear, Lisa Hammond, my neighbor 3 houses down. She was the HOA treasurer, always strutting around with a clipboard, her blonde ponytail bouncing like she owned the street. I knew her type, smug, entitled, the kind of person who'd fine you for a crooked mailbox, but smile while doing it. The video showed her smirking as she turned her Jeep, like my lawn was her personal shortcut. I felt my blood boil, but I stayed calm. I had proof now. I knocked on Lisa's door that afternoon. She answered, still in her yoga pants, her smile as fake as her spray tan. "Hey, Lisa," I said, keeping my voice steady. "I caught you driving over my lawn. It's private property. Can you stop?" She didn't even blink. "Oh, James, it's just grass. Don't make a big deal." Her tone was so dismissive, like I was a kid whining about a scraped knee. "It's my grass," I said, "and you're ruining it." She laughed a sharp little chuckle and said, "Maybe if your lawn wasn't so uneven, I wouldn't need to drive on it." Then she shut the door in my face. I stood there, stunned, my fists clenched. I wanted to yell, but I didn't. I walked back home, her words echoing in my head. This wasn't about grass anymore. It was about respect. The next day, the tracks were deeper. Lisa didn't just drive over the lawn. She revved her engine, spinning her tires until mud flew everywhere. My sprinkler head was crushed, a jagged piece of plastic sticking out like a broken bone. I called the HOA office and left a message for the president, Tom Grayson, a quiet guy who seemed nice enough but never stood up to Lisa. No response. That evening, I found a letter in my mailbox, printed on official HOA letterhead. It said my lawn was non-compliant for obstructing vehicle access, and I'd be fined $100 if I didn't fix it. My jaw dropped. Lisa was damaging my property, and now I was the one getting fined? I checked the HOA bylaws online. Nothing about lawns being vehicle access points. This was her move, plain and simple. She was flexing her power, and I was her target. I couldn't let it go. I went to the next HOA meeting, held in the community center's stuffy conference room. Lisa sat at the head of the table, her pen tapping like she was running a courtroom. Tom was there, flipping through papers, avoiding eye contact. A few other board members, all Lisa's friends, whispered to each other. I stood up and showed the video of Lisa's Jeep on my lawn. "This is trespassing," I said. "She's destroying my property and now fining me for it." Lisa leaned back, her smile cold. "James, you're being dramatic. The community needs access to that corner. Your lawn's in the way." I looked at Tom, expecting him to say something. He just shrugged and said, "Let's keep things neighborly." Neighborly? I wanted to scream. Instead, I sat down, my face hot, knowing I was alone in this fight. That night, I sat on my porch, staring at the ruined lawn. The tire tracks felt like a personal insult, a reminder that Lisa thought she could walk all over me. I wasn't rich or connected like her. I was just a guy who moved to Maplewood for a quiet life after my divorce. This house was all I had, and she was tearing it apart. But I wasn't helpless. I remember my cousin, Mike, a retired city planner who knew every zoning law in the book. If Lisa wanted to play dirty, I'd play smart. I called Mike and told him everything. He listened quietly, then said, "She's not just a bully, James. She's hiding something. People don't act this bold without a reason." His words stuck with me. What was Lisa hiding? I decided to find out. I started watching her. Not in a creepy way, just paying attention. Every morning, she'd drive over my lawn, head down the street, and disappear for about 10 minutes before coming back. It was always the same route, always at dawn when no one was around. I set up another camera, this time angled to catch her Jeep leaving the neighborhood. The footage showed her turning onto a shady street a few blocks away, pulling into a driveway, and handing something to a guy in a hoodie. It wasn't groceries or mail. It looked like a small black bag. She'd leave fast, tossing something in a parked trash can on her way home. My gut told me this wasn't just about a shortcut. Lisa was up to something, and my lawn was her cover. I dug through the trash can the next day, feeling like a lunatic, but too curious to stop. Inside the black bag, I found a torn pharmacy label and a faint smell of chemicals. My heart raced. This wasn't just HOA nonsense. Lisa was involved in something illegal, and my lawn was the blind spot she used to dodge cameras. I didn't know what to do yet, but I knew one thing. I wasn't just fighting for my grass anymore. I was fighting for the truth. And Lisa was about to learn that I wasn't the pushover she thought. I stood in my garage, staring at the black bag I'd pulled from the parked trash can. The torn pharmacy label and chemical smell made my skin crawl. Lisa wasn't just a power-hungry HOA tyrant. She was hiding something dark, and my lawn was her escape route. I felt a mix of fear and determination. This wasn't just about fixing my grass anymore. It was about stopping her. But I had to be careful. Lisa had the HOA board in her pocket, and I was just James Carter, a divorced guy with a small house and a big problem. I called my cousin Mike again. "You're not wrong," he said after I told him about the bag. "She's using your lawn to avoid cameras. You need evidence, but don't confront her yet. She'll bury you." His voice was calm, but it lit a fire in me. I wasn't going to let her win. The next morning, I watched Lisa's Jeep tear through my lawn again. The tires churned up fresh mud, and she waved at me from her window, her smile sharp like a knife. It wasn't just arrogance, it was a challenge. I forced a smile back, but inside I was raging. My lawn wasn't just grass. It was the one thing I'd poured my heart into after my ex-wife took everything else. I spent hours mowing, watering, planting flowers to make this place mine. And Lisa was destroying it like it meant nothing. I set up another camera, this one hidden in a fake birdhouse, angled to catch her full route. I wasn't just collecting evidence, I was building a case. That afternoon, I got another HOA letter. This one claimed my mailbox was aesthetic non-compliant and demanded I replace it or face a $200 fine. I laughed bitter. My mailbox was standard, gray, approved when I moved in. This was Lisa's doing, another jab to keep me in line. I called Tom, the HOA president, again. "Tom, this is ridiculous," I said. "Lisa's driving over my lawn, and now I'm getting fined for my mailbox." He sighed, his voice tired. "James, the board reviewed it. Just replace the mailbox. It's easier." "Easier for who?" I wanted to yell. Instead, I hung up, my hand shaking. Lisa wasn't just bullying me. She was weaponizing the HOA to break me. I drove to the shady street where Lisa made her drop-offs. The house was run down, with cracked windows and a rusty car in the driveway. I didn't get out, just watched from a distance. The guy in the hoodie came out, lit a cigarette, and glanced around like he was expecting trouble. My heart pounded. I wasn't a detective, but I knew this wasn't right. I checked county records online that night. The house belonged to a guy named Ricky Vance, arrested 3 times for drug possession. My stomach dropped. Lisa wasn't just cutting through my lawn for convenience. She was dodging Ring doorbells and street cameras to make her deals. I had her on video handing him a bag. It was enough to go to the police, but Mike's warning echoed in my head. I needed more. The next day, Lisa upped the ante. I found a pile of weeds dumped on my porch, still wet with dirt, like someone had ripped them from a garden. A note was tucked inside. "Keep your nose out of my business." No signature, but I knew it was her. My hands shook as I read it. This wasn't just about power anymore, it was a threat. I showed the note to my neighbor, Sarah, a quiet widow who'd lived on the street forever. "James, be careful," she whispered. "Lisa's got friends everywhere. She fined me last year for my rose bushes, said they were too tall. I paid to avoid trouble." Her eyes were scared, and it hit me. I wasn't the only one Lisa was terrorizing. This was bigger than my lawn. I decided to fight back, but not with fists or yelling. I went online and researched lawn protection ideas. Most were too expensive: motion sprinklers, retractable spikes, but one caught my eye: plastic grid mats, used for stabilizing dirt paths. They were cheap, legal, and tough enough to mess up a car's alignment, if buried just right. I ordered a set and called Mike. "You're playing chess now," he said, chuckling. "Bury them under the sod, but cover your tracks. She'll try to turn it against you." We spent that night digging up the damaged corner of my lawn, laying the grids, and covering them with fresh sod. It looked normal, but it was a trap. I left a rake and some gardening tools out front, my alibi in case Lisa got nosy. The next morning, I heard a loud thud. Lisa's Jeep hit the grids, and her tires screeched as she slammed the brakes. She got out, her face red, and marched toward my porch. "What did you do to my lawn?" she yelled. I stepped outside, calm as I could manage. "Just fixing my grass, Lisa. You know, after all the damage." She pointed at the ground. "This is an HOA violation. You're creating a hazard." I shrugged. "Check the bylaws, page 12, section 4. Homeowners can reinforce their property for drainage." I'd memorized it, thanks to Mike. She glared, her eyes narrowing, then stormed back to her Jeep. The undercarriage scraped as she drove off. I smiled for the first time in weeks. That night, another HOA letter arrived. This one accused me of tampering with community access and threatened a $300 fine. I knew Lisa was behind it, but something else was off. The letter had Tom's signature, but it looked shaky, like someone had forged it. I called Tom. "Did you sign this?" I asked. He paused, then said, "No, James. I didn't." My heart raced. Lisa was getting desperate, and desperate people make mistakes. I saved the letter, knowing it was my next weapon. But I also knew she wasn't done. If she was forging signatures and dumping weeds on my porch, what was next? I checked my cameras before bed. The birdhouse cam caught her Jeep circling my house at midnight, slow, like she was planning something. I wasn't just fighting for my lawn anymore, I was fighting for my safety. Lisa's Jeep circling my house at midnight stuck with me. I couldn't shake the image of her headlights creeping past my windows, like a predator sizing up its prey. I barely slept, my mind racing with what she might do next. My lawn was a battleground now, but this wasn't just about grass, it was about survival. Lisa wasn't just an HOA bully. She was dangerous, and that forged letter with Tom's shaky signature proved she'd cross any line to get her way. I felt a knot in my chest, a mix of fear and anger. This was my home, the one thing I'd rebuilt after my divorce shattered everything else. I wasn't going to let her take it from me. The next morning, I checked the birdhouse camera. Lisa's Jeep hadn't come back, but there was something new. A small pile of broken glass near my mailbox, glinting in the dawn light. It wasn't random litter, it was from a beer bottle, smashed deliberately. My hands shook as I swept up, picturing Lisa sneaking around in the dark, her smug smile taunting me. I called Sarah, my neighbor, to see if she'd noticed anything. "James, I saw her Jeep parked down the street last night," she said, her voice low. "She was just sitting there, watching your house." I didn't say anything, because, well, you know how she is. Sarah's fear made my stomach turn. Lisa wasn't just targeting me. She was scaring the whole neighborhood. I decided to take the fight to her. I printed out stills for my cameras, Lisa's Jeep on my lawn, her drop-off with Ricky Vance, the midnight circling. I also kept the forged HOA letter and a threatening note about keeping my nose out. I wasn't ready to go to the police yet. Mike had warned me to build a stronger case, but I could rattle her cage. I went to the next HOA meeting, my evidence in a folder. The community center was packed, neighbors whispering about Lisa's latest finds for things like unapproved bird feeders. Lisa sat at the front, her usual smirk in place, but her eyes flicked to me when I walked in. She knew I was up to something. I stood up during the open forum. I have proof Lisa's been trespassing on my property, I said, holding up the camera stills. She's driving over my lawn daily, and I got this forged letter with Tom's signature. I passed the letter around. Tom's face went pale as he looked at it. That's not my signature, he said, loud enough for everyone to hear. The room buzzed. Lisa's smile faltered, but she recovered fast. James, you're blowing this out of proportion, she said. Your lawn's a safety hazard. I'm just doing my job. A few of her friends on the board nodded, but others looked uneasy. I pressed on. Then why are you circling my house at midnight? Why the broken glass by my mailbox? The room went quiet. Lisa's eyes narrowed, but she didn't answer. After the meeting, Tom pulled me aside. James, I didn't know she was forging my name, he said, his voice shaky. She's been pushing me around for months. I'll look into it, but be careful. His warning hit hard. If Lisa could scare even the HOA president, what was she capable of? I went home and checked my cameras again. The footage showed something new. Lisa walking across my lawn at 2 a.m., a shovel in her hand. She dug up a small patch near my mailbox, then covered it with dirt and left. My heart pounded. What was she hiding? I grabbed a flashlight and went outside, digging where she'd been. Under the dirt was a small plastic bag, like the one from the park trash can, filled with tiny white pills. My breath caught. Lisa wasn't just dealing. She was planting evidence on my property. I called Mike right away. She's setting you up, he said, his voice grim. Those pills could get you arrested if she tips off the cops. Don't touch them. Get more footage and expose her before she makes her move. I felt sick. Lisa wasn't just a bully. She was framing me to protect her secret. I buried the bag again, careful not to leave fingerprints, and set up another camera. This one aimed at the mailbox itself. If she came back, I'd catch her. But I needed help. I knocked on Sarah's door and showed her the footage of Lisa with the shovel. She's out of control, Sarah said, her voice trembling. I'll talk to the neighbors. We're all tired of her. For the first time, I felt like I wasn't alone. The next day, I found a new HOA notice taped to my door, a $500 fine for suspected illegal activity on my property. No details, just Lisa's initials at the bottom. My blood boiled. She was trying to scare me into silence, but she'd made a mistake. I posted the camera stills on the neighborhood's online forum, along with a message. Lisa Hammond is trespassing, forging letters, and threatening me. Who else is she targeting? Within hours, replies flooded in. Neighbors shared their own stories, fines for fake violations, threats for questioning her. One post, from a guy named Greg, said he'd seen Lisa meeting Ricky Vance behind the gas station. Another twist. Greg's cousin worked for the local sheriff's office. I messaged him, my hands shaking with hope. Maybe I had an ally. That night, I heard a noise outside, a low scrape like metal on dirt. I checked the mailbox camera. Lisa was back, digging again, her face tight with panic. She didn't know I'd found the bag. I watched her plant another one, then drive off. My heart raced, but I smiled. She was slipping, and I was ready to turn her game against her. I called Greg's cousin, Deputy Matt, and told him everything. Keep recording, he said. If she's dealing, we'll catch her. But don't confront her alone. I nodded, even though he couldn't see me. Lisa thought she had me trapped, but the trap was hers now. The image of Lisa digging on my lawn at 2 a.m., her face twisted with panic, burned in my mind. She wasn't just bullying me. She was trying to frame me with drugs to shut me up for good. My heart pounded as I saved the footage from the mailbox camera, my hands sweaty with a mix of fear and excitement. This was my chance to turn the tables, but one wrong move could ruin me. I felt like I was walking a tightrope, with Lisa waiting below to cut it. My house, my quiet corner of Maplewood, was all I had left after my divorce. I couldn't let her destroy it. But now, with Deputy Matt and the neighbors on my side, I wasn't alone anymore. I was ready to fight smarter. The next morning, I woke to a new surprise. My front yard was covered in trash, empty soda cans, food wrappers, even a dirty diaper. It was scattered across the lawn, deliberate, like a slap in the face. I clenched my fists, picturing Lisa sneaking around in the dark, thinking she could break me. I cleaned it up before anyone saw, my anger simmering. Sarah stopped by, her face pale. "James, I saw Lisa's Jeep near your house again last night," she said. "She's not stopping. What are you going to do?" I took a deep breath. "I'm going to end this," I said, my voice steady despite the storm inside. Sarah nodded, her eyes fierce. "We're with you. Nobody likes her." I met Deputy Matt at a coffee shop outside town, away from Lisa's nosy friends. I showed him the footage of Lisa planting the bags and the pharmacy label from the park trash can. His eyes narrowed as he watched. "This is serious, James," he said. "Those pills look like prescription drugs, probably opioids. If she's dealing, we can nail her, but we need her caught in the act." He leaned closer. "I'll get a patrol car to watch that shady house on Oak Street. Keep your cameras rolling." I nodded, feeling a spark of hope. Matt wasn't just a deputy. He was Greg's cousin, a guy who grew up in Maplewood and hated bullies like Lisa. For the first time, I felt like I had a real shot. Back home, I checked the neighborhood forum. My post about Lisa had exploded. Dozens of neighbors shared stories of her fines and threats. One woman, Claire, posted about a $400 fine for her kids' chalk drawings on the sidewalk. Another guy, Tim, said Lisa tried to tow his car for parking too close to a fire hydrant that didn't exist. The anger was electric, like a storm brewing. I posted the new footage of Lisa dumping trash, keeping her drug planting secret for now. The replies poured in. "She's out of control. We need a new board." I smiled, knowing Lisa was losing her grip on the neighborhood. But Lisa wasn't done. That afternoon, an HOA tow truck pulled up to my driveway. The driver, a guy with a buzz cut and a clipboard, said my car was illegally parked on my own property. I showed him my deed, proving the driveway was mine. He shrugged. "Orders from Ms. Hammond. Pay $150 to release it, or it's gone." I called Matt, who showed up in his patrol car within minutes. The tow guy backed off fast, mumbling about a mix-up. Matt winked at me. "She's getting sloppy," he said. But I saw Lisa watching from her porch, her phone to her ear, her face tight. She was planning something bigger. That night, I got a call from an unknown number. A man's voice, low and rough, said, "Stop snooping, or you'll regret it." Before I could respond, he hung up. My heart raced. I checked the cameras. Nothing new, but the threat felt real. I called Mike, my cousin, and told him about the call. "That's Ricky Vance or one of his buddies," Mike said. "Lisa's desperate. She knows you're close. Double down on the cameras, and don't go near that bag of pills." I added a third camera, this one hidden in a fake rock by the mailbox, angled to catch anyone tampering. I wasn't sleeping much, but I wasn't backing down either. The next day, I found a new HOA letter, this one hand-delivered, stuffed in my mailbox. It accused me of vandalizing community property by installing the plastic grids under my lawn. The fine was $1,000, and it demanded I remove them or face a lien on my house. My blood boiled. Lisa was twisting my defense against her into a weapon. I showed the letter to Sarah, who gasped, "This is insane, James. She's trying to bankrupt you." I nodded, but my mind was racing. The letter wasn't signed by Tom. It had Lisa's initials again, and the wording was off, like she'd written it herself in a rush. Another mistake. I went back to the shady house on Oak Street, staying in my car with the engine off. I saw Lisa's Jeep pull up, and Ricky Vance came out. This time, she handed him a bigger bag, and he gave her a thick envelope. Cash, no doubt. I recorded it all with my phone, my hand shaking. This was the evidence Matt needed. But as Lisa drove away, she slowed down near my car. Our eyes met through the windshield. Her face went pale, then hard. She knew I was onto her. I drove home, my heart pounding, knowing the game had just changed. Lisa wasn't just fighting for control anymore. She was fighting for her freedom. And I was in her crosshairs. Lisa's eyes locked on mine through her Jeep's windshield, and I felt a chill. She knew I was watching her deal with Ricky Vance, and the look on her face wasn't just anger, it was fear. I drove home, my heart pounding, checking my rearview mirror every second. My house, my safe place after years of rebuilding, felt like a target now. Lisa wasn't just an HOA bully anymore. She was a cornered animal, and I was in her way. I checked my cameras as soon as I got home. The fake rock cam by the mailbox caught her Jeep circling again, slower this time, like she was planning her next move. I wasn't just fighting for my lawn, I was fighting to stay safe. The next morning, I found my mailbox smashed. The metal was bent, the post cracked like someone had hit it with a bat. My stomach twisted. This was Lisa sending a message. I called Deputy Matt and sent him the footage of Lisa's deal with Ricky. "This is big, James," he said. "We're watching that house on Oak Street tonight. Stay low and keep your cameras on." I nodded, but fear crept in. Lisa was unraveling, and I didn't know how far she'd go. I told Sarah about the mailbox. "She's scared," Sarah said, her voice firm. "You're close to exposing her. We're all behind you." Her words gave me strength. The neighborhood was waking up. I posted about the smashed mailbox on the forum, adding a clip of Lisa's Jeep circling. The replies exploded. Claire said Lisa fined her for a dirty porch that was spotless. Tim shared how Lisa threatened to report his dog for barking. The neighbors were done with her. Greg, whose cousin was Matt, messaged me privately. "Meet me at the park tonight. I've got something." I trusted him. At the park, Greg handed me a USB drive. "My cousin pulled this from a street cam near Oak Street," he said. "It shows Lisa and Ricky last month. She's been at this for a while." I thanked him, my hands shaking. This was the proof I needed. Back home, I watched the footage. It showed Lisa handing Ricky a bag of pills, clear as day, under a streetlight. My heart raced. I had her. But before I could call Matt, a new HOA letter arrived, slid under my door. It accused me of harassing the treasurer and demanded I attend a disciplinary hearing or face eviction proceedings. My blood ran cold. Eviction? For what? The letter had Lisa's initials, but it was sloppy, typed in a different font. She was desperate, making mistakes. I called Mike. "She's trying to scare you off," he said. "Go to that hearing. Bring everything, cameras, letters, the USB. She's digging her own grave." That night, I heard a noise outside, metal scraping dirt. I checked the mailbox cam. Lisa was back, digging up the drug bag she'd planted, her hands frantic. She didn't know I had 3 cameras now. I watched her pull out the bag, look around, and shove it in her pocket. My pulse raced. She was covering her tracks, but I had her on video. I texted Matt. "She's moving the drugs now." He replied, "Patrol's on Oak Street. We're ready." I smiled, but my hand shook. Lisa thought she was winning, but her time was running out. The hearing was tomorrow, and I was ready to end this. The morning of the HOA hearing, my stomach was in knots. I stood in my kitchen, clutching a folder with my evidence, camera stills, the forged letter, the USB drive from Greg, and footage of Lisa digging up the drug bag. My house, my sanctuary after years of rebuilding, felt like a fortress under siege. Lisa's Jeep hadn't rolled over my lawn today, but I knew she was planning something big. Her attempt to frame me with drugs, her smashed mailbox, her threats, they all pointed to one thing. She was scared. I'd caught her on video, and tonight, at the hearing, I'd expose her. But my hands shook. If I messed this up, I could lose everything. I checked the fake rock camera before leaving. The footage showed Lisa's Jeep parked across the street at dawn, her just sitting there, staring at my house. It sent a shiver down my spine. She wasn't giving up, she was doubling down. I texted Matt. "She's watching me. Anything on your end?" He replied, "Patrol saw her at Oak Street last night. Caught Ricky Vance with pills matching your footage. Stay sharp tonight." My heart lifted. Lisa was slipping, and the net was closing. I called Sarah for a quick pep talk. "You've got this, James," she said. "Half the neighborhood's coming to the hearing. We're done with her." Her words fueled me. This wasn't just my fight anymore. The community center was packed, neighbors whispering as I walked in. Lisa sat at the front, her smile tight, her eyes darting to me. Tom, the HOA president, looked nervous, shuffling papers. I took a deep breath and stood up when my name was called. "Lisa's been trespassing on my lawn," I said, my voice steady. "She's forged letters, planted drugs, and threatened me." I held up the camera stills and passed them around. Gasps filled the room. Lisa laughed, sharp and fake. "This is absurd, James. You're making this up to dodge fines." But her voice cracked, and I saw sweat on her forehead. I played the USB footage on the projector. Lisa handing Ricky a bag under the streetlight. The room went silent. Then I showed the clip of her digging up the drug bag by my mailbox. Neighbors whispered, some shouting, "She's a liar." Lisa stood up, her face red. "This is edited. He's framing me." But Tom cut her off. "Lisa, that's my signature on a forged letter. Explain that." She froze, her eyes wide. I pressed play on the final clip, her Jeep circling my house at midnight. The crowd erupted. "Resign," someone yelled. Lisa's friends on the board looked away, abandoning her. Before I could say more, the doors swung open. Deputy Matt walked in, badge glinting. "Lisa Hammond, we need to talk," he said. The room buzzed as he held up a photo of the pills from Ricky's arrest. "These matched the bag you planted." Ricky's talking. Lisa's face went pale. She bolted for the door, but Matt blocked her. "Don't make this worse," he said. She sank into her chair, defeated. I felt a rush, not just relief, but victory. The neighborhood cheered, and Sarah squeezed my arm. Lisa's reign was over, but I knew this wasn't the end. She'd try one last move. I had to be ready. Lisa's defeat at the hearing felt like a weight lifting off my chest, but I couldn't relax. Her pale face and trembling hands told me she wasn't done fighting. She'd been caught red-handed, forged letters, planted drugs, shady deals with Ricky Vance. But people like Lisa didn't just give up. My house, my one safe place after years of starting over, was still at risk. I walked home from the community center, the neighborhood buzzing with chatter. Sarah and Claire high-fived me, and even Tom, the HOA president, gave me a nod. "You did good, James," he said. But my gut churned. Lisa's last look, pure venom, promised trouble. The next morning, I checked my cameras. Nothing new, but my lawn looked different. The grass near the mailbox was uneven, like someone had tampered with it again. My heart sank. I grabbed a shovel and dug carefully. Under the sod, I found a small metal box, locked tight, with a faint chemical smell. My hands shook. Lisa had planted something else, something worse. I left it buried and called Deputy Matt. "Don't touch it," he said. "I'm sending a guy to check it. Lisa's out on bail, and Ricky's spilling everything. She's desperate." I felt sick. Bail? She was free to come after me? I went to Sarah's house to warn her. "She's not stopping," I said, showing her a still of Lisa's Jeep near my place. At 3 a.m. Sarah's face hardened. "We're done being scared," she said. I told the neighbors about the hearing. "They're ready to vote her out." I smiled, but my mind was on that box. What was Lisa planning? I posted on the forum, asking if anyone saw her near my house last night. Greg replied, "Saw her Jeep at the park at 4 a.m. She was burning papers." Burning papers? She was destroying evidence. I texted Matt, and he confirmed, "We're raiding Ricky's place today. Stay safe." That afternoon, I got a call from an unknown number. A woman's voice, low and shaky, said, "You think you won, James? Check your backyard." The line went dead. My heart raced. I ran outside, flashlight in hand. In the corner of my yard, near the fence, the grass was torn up. Another bag, bigger, heavier, filled with pills and cash. My stomach dropped. Lisa was framing me again, but this was bolder, sloppier. I grabbed my phone and recorded it without touching anything. I called Matt, my voice shaking. "She's planted more drugs," I said. "Backyard now." He was there in 10 minutes, bagging the evidence. "She's done," he said. "This matches what we found at Ricky's." The neighborhood forum lit up. Claire posted a photo of Lisa's Jeep parked near my house at dawn. Tim said he saw her toss a bag over my fence. The neighbors were watching her now, turning her own game against her. I felt a surge of hope, but also fear. Lisa was cornered, and cornered people were dangerous. That night, I heard a crash outside. My cameras caught Lisa smashing my garden lights with a crowbar, her face wild. I called Matt, who pulled up as she fled. "We've got her," he said. "Ricky named her as his supplier. She's going down." I exhaled. but my heart still raced. Lisa was out of moves, but I needed to seal her fate. Lisa's crowbar smashing my garden lights replayed in my head as I stood on my porch, the night air cold against my skin. She was unraveling, her drug-dealing empire crumbling. But that made her more dangerous. My house, my refuge after years of picking up the pieces, felt like a battlefield. The neighborhood was behind me, but my heart still raced. Lisa had one last chance to strike, and I knew she'd take it. Deputy Matt's words echoed, "She's going down." But I needed to make sure she couldn't claw her way back. I checked my cameras, the fake rock one catching her Jeep peeling away after her rampage. This was it, my chance to end her reign for good. The next morning, I found my lawn torn up worse than ever. Deep tire tracks zigzagged across it, not just near the mailbox, but everywhere, like Lisa had driven in circles to ruin every blade of grass. A note was taped to my door, "You'll pay." My stomach churned, but I wasn't scared anymore. I was angry. This was my home, my fight, and she'd gone too far. I called Matt and sent him the new footage. "She's done for," he said. "Ricky gave us everything, dates, drop-offs, even her supplier's name. We're picking her up today." I exhaled, but my hand still shook. I needed to face her one last time. The neighborhood organized an emergency HOA meeting that evening, pushed by Sarah and Claire. The community center was packed, faces angry, neighbors done with Lisa's tyranny. I brought my folder, every piece of evidence, camera stills, the forged letter, the USB footage, the drug bags, and now the vandalism clip. Tom, the HOA president, looked defeated, his hands trembling as he called the meeting to order. Lisa walked in late, her face pale but defiant, her blonde ponytail loose like she'd stopped caring. She saw me and smirked, but it was weak. I stood up, my voice clear. "Lisa's been terrorizing us for years," I said. "Trespassing, forging letters, dealing drugs, framing me." I played the vandalism clip on the projector. The crowd gasped as Lisa's crowbar hit my lights. Sarah stood next. "She fined me for my roses," she said. "They were my husband's before he passed." Claire added, "She charged me for my kids' chalk drawings." "She's a bully." One by one, neighbors spoke, Tim about his fake parking fine, Greg about her threats. The room roared for a vote to remove her. Lisa tried to interrupt. "This is a setup," she yelled. But Tom raised his hand. "Enough, Lisa. You're suspended, effective now." The crowd cheered. Lisa's face twisted, and she stormed out, shoving a chair. I felt a rush, relief, victory, but also dread. She wasn't done yet. That night, Matt called. "We arrested Lisa at her house," he said. "Found pills and cash in her garage, matching Ricky's story. She's not coming back." I thanked him, my voice thick. It was over. But when I walked outside, I saw her Jeep parked across the street, empty. My heart stopped. Had she slipped out before the arrest? I checked the cameras. The footage showed her sneaking into my backyard hours earlier, before the meeting, carrying a gas can. My blood ran cold. I ran to the backyard, smelling gasoline near my shed. She'd planned to burn it down, to destroy me. But the cameras caught her, and Matt's team had her now. She'd never hurt anyone again. The next week, the neighborhood threw a block party on my street. Sarah brought her famous potato salad. Claire's kids drew chalk art on the sidewalk, and Tom announced new HOA rules. No more fake fines, no more bullying. My lawn was still a mess, but I didn't care. I'd fought for my home and won. The neighbors called the new rules the Carter Code, a nod to my stand against Lisa. I smiled, thinking of her house, now for sale, untouched by buyers. Her name was a curse in Maplewood, her legacy reduced to a warning. Looking back, I learned something. Standing up to a bully takes guts, but it also takes a community. Lisa thought she could control us with fear, but together we were stronger. My lawn would grow back, greener than ever, because it wasn't just grass. It was my fight, our fight for what was right. I'd never let anyone trample that again. Moral lesson: no one is above accountability. When you stand up to a bully with truth and support, you can reclaim what's yours and build something better.